Imagine being trapped in a golden cage where every choice is controlled and every move watched. Today we're exposing the shocking truth behind the Brown family secrets, and you won't believe what's really happening. Hit that subscribe button now because this story is about to blow your mind. Remember that scene, the one that is etched into the nightmares of every single viewer who has followed this family for over a decade? Cody Brown's face twisted in anger, essentially telling his sons, "You are 18, bye-bye." He made it sound like a law of nature. He made it sound like the undeniable duty of a patriarch to kick the birds out of the nest the second they reached legal adulthood. But we all know that rule was a lie. That rule was a weapon, and it was pointed squarely at Janelle's sons. Because if you look at Flagstaff today, if you peer into the windows of that massive hoarded mansion on the hill, you will see a 22-year-old woman named Aurora. She is not packing boxes, she is not looking for apartments, she is not sleeping in a trailer or fixing up an RV. She is getting her ears pierced by her daddy. She is being carried like a toddler. She is living in luxury, while the memory of Garrison and the harsh reality of his expulsion hangs over the family like a dark cloud. In this video, we are not just comparing, contrasting clips, we're exposing a terrifying psychological game. We have uncovered insider reports and exclusive theories suggesting that there is a secret loyalty contract within Robin's home that makes the rules for Aurora completely different from the rules for Gabriel and Garrison. We are going to prove that Cody's rules are not actually rules. They are simply a method to punish the children of the wives he no longer loves. This is the story of the horrifying double standard that tore a family apart. Before we descend into this rabbit hole of favoritism and heartbreak, I need you to hit that like button right now. It helps us break through the algorithm to get this truth out to more people. And if you have not already, subscribe. We do not just recap the show, we dig up the secrets they try to bury. Turn on those notifications because the story we're breaking today is going to change how you see the entire series. Let's begin with the visual evidence that makes your blood boil. Think back to the height of the tension in Flagstaff. We saw Cody Brown acting like a landlord from hell toward Garrison and Gabriel. The narrative he pushed was that they were dangerous, that they were non-compliant, that their desire to have a social life or work jobs was a direct threat to the family. He weaponized the pandemic, yes, but underneath that was a much older, darker instinct. He was threatened by his own sons. He looked at Garrison, a young man building a life, saving money to buy a house, actually trying to be responsible, and Cody saw disobedience. He saw a man who did not need him, and Cody cannot tolerate anyone who does not need him. So the ultimatum was given: obey my impossible rules or get out. And eventually, they had to get out. The pain of that rejection, the feeling of not being good enough for your own father, unless you shrink yourself down to fit in his pocket, that is a wound that never heals. Now, cut to the present day. Shift the camera to the Shiro Chateau. Aurora is well past the age of 18. In fact, at 22, she's older than Garrison was when the pressure to evict him began ramping up. Does Cody discuss her moving out? Does he hold court in the living room screaming about how she needs to launch into the real world? Absolutely not. Instead, we see scenes of Cody doting on her. We see a father who is terrified of his little girl leaving. We're hearing reports from sources close to the production that suggest the dynamic inside Robin's house is fundamentally different. It is not just about favoritism, it's about control. The theory gaining traction among insiders is that Cody doesn't actually want children to leave. He only wants the independent ones to leave. If you are willing to remain a child, if you are willing to let him control your narrative, your finances, and your decisions, you can stay in the mansion forever. This brings us to a shocking piece of intel that has been circulating in private forums. There is a belief that the rules for staying in Robin's house involve what we are calling a loyalty agreement. Now, this is not necessarily a piece of paper, but a verbal and psychological contract. The theory posits that Aurora and Brianna are allowed to stay rent-free, allowed to drive nice cars, and allowed to live without the pressure of the real world on one condition: total and absolute allegiance to Cody and Robin's narrative. Unlike Garrison, who challenged his father, or Gabriel, who just wanted to live his life, Aurora's silence is her currency. She pays her rent with compliance. But let's look deeper at the finances, because this is where the double standard turns from annoying to abusive. We know that Janelle's money, her retirement, the proceeds from her Las Vegas house, went into the family pot that eventually secured the McMansion where Robin and Cody live. So, in a cruel twist of irony, the money that should have supported Janelle's children is being used to house Robin's adult children. Garrison was saving up for a down payment, working hard, trying to secure his future. Meanwhile, rumors suggest that not only does Aurora not pay rent, but she is also shielded from the economic realities that the other Brown children faced. We have heard whispers that while Cody was screaming about poverty to Janelle, claiming they didn't have the money to pay off Coyote Pass, the household budget for Robin's wing included expenses for the adult girls that would make your head spin. We're talking about potential allowances, vehicle maintenance, and lifestyle funding that the original Brown kids never saw. This economic disparity creates a chasm of resentment. Imagine being Garrison. Imagine knowing that your father is pushing you out the door, telling you to figure it out on your own, while your stepsister, who is the same age or older, is being treated like a princess in a castle your mother helped pay for. It is not just unfair, it's a betrayal of the basic parental contract. And why? Cody's justification has always been respect. He claims Aurora respects him, and the boys didn't. But we need to decode what Cody means by respect. To Cody Brown, respect is not mutual admiration or listening to someone. Respect is worship. It is the absence of questioning. Let's analyze the psychology of this narcissistic parenting. In a narcissistic family structure, there are roles assigned to the children. You have the golden child, and you have the scapegoat. For years, we thought these roles shifted, but as the children became adults, the lines became permanent. The sons, specifically Janelle's sons, became the competition. A narcissistic father often views his sons as rivals once they reach manhood. They are younger, stronger, and in the case of Garrison and Gabriel, they were becoming clear-eyed about who their father was. Cody could not manipulate them anymore, so he had to discard them. He viewed their independence as an insult. Every time Garrison made a smart financial decision or showed he could fix something on his own, it was a reminder to Cody that he was becoming obsolete. On the flip side, we have the daughters of the loyal wife. Aurora and Brianna serve a completely different function for Cody. They are there to reflect his glory back at him. When Cody looks at Aurora, he sees someone who looks up to him, someone who, at least on camera, seems to think he hangs the moon. He needs that supply. He feeds on that adoration. If he were to kick Aurora out, he would lose a source of narcissistic supply. He would lose an audience member who claps for his performance. So the 18 and out rule doesn't apply to her. It was never about age. It was never about fostering independence. It was always about curating a household of people who make Cody feel like a god. There's also a darker theory emerging about why Aurora specifically is kept so close. We have seen the clips of her panic attacks. We have seen Cody carrying her away. There's a narrative being spun by Cody and Robin that these girls are fragile and cannot handle the world. By painting them as fragile, they justify keeping them captive. It's a form of emotional hobbling. Compare that to how he treated the boys. He threw them into the deep end and told them to swim. With Aurora, he refuses to even let her near the water. This leads us to the most controversial aspect of our investigation, the basement wife versus penthouse wife mentality trickling down to the kids. We have uncovered alleged details about the division of assets that suggest Cody has been legally restructuring things to ensure that Robin's children are the primary heirs to the remaining estate. While this is legal, experts looking at the property names on Coyote Pass and the sheer accumulation of assets in Robin's name suggest a disturbing trend. If these theories are true, Cody is not just favoring Aurora with a bedroom today, he is favoring her with the family legacy tomorrow. He is essentially disinheriting the sons who challenged him in favor of the daughters who obeyed him. Think about the message this sends. It tells the world that Cody Brown's love is conditional. It's a transaction. Sell me your soul and I will give you a room. Keep your soul and you are homeless. It's a terrifying proposition for a parent to make to a child. And the most heartbreaking part is that Garrison knew this. He saw it. He lived it. The tragedy that befell him cannot be solely pinned on one thing, and we must be respectful of the complexity of mental health, but we cannot ignore the environment he was placed in. He was in an environment where his value was because her leaving would expose the lie. It would prove that even the good ones want to escape him eventually. To prevent this, we theorize that Cody and Robin are actively sabotaging her independence. There are rumors, again, but persistent, that Robin is heavily involved in managing Aurora's social interactions and even her education path, steering her toward local options, steering her away from anything that would take her out of the orbit of the Shiro Chateau. Let's dig deeper into the wallet of Cody Brown, because nothing exposes the truth quite like following the money. While Cody was practically pushing Garrison out the door with one hand, claiming the family was financially strapped and could not pay off the land at Coyote Pass, his other hand was wide open, funding a lifestyle for Aurora that Janelle's kids could only dream of. We have uncovered financial breakdowns that are circulating among high-level sources in the investigation community. These reports allege that during the very months Cody was demanding Garrison and Gabriel pay rent or leave, thousands of dollars from the family pot, money that technically belonged to all the wives, was being funneled into household aesthetics for the mansion. We are talking about expensive art, precious moments figurines, and rumors of high-end jewelry purchases. Picture this split screen in your mind. On the left, you have Garrison, a young man who joined the National Guard, serving his country and working construction, trying to save every penny to buy a modest home in a brutal housing market. He is being told he's a burden. He is being told his presence is a liability. On the right, you have Aurora, living in a near $1 million home, surrounded by clutter that costs more than Garrison's annual salary, contributing $0 to the mortgage, and being told she is the model child. The injustice here is not just emotional, it is mathematically provable. Cody's argument that everyone has to pull their weight was a lie. The rule was actually Janelle's sons must pull their weight, but Robin's daughters must be carried. This brings us to a devastating theory regarding the eviction timeline. We have received tips suggesting that the rush to kick the boys out was not just about CO, it was about space. Not physical space, the mansion is huge, but psychological space. Insider theories suggest that Robin began complaining to Cody that the energy of the older boys was unsafe for her tender daughters. We have heard whispers of a private conversation where the narrative was spun that Gabriel and Garrison's independence was a form of aggression that was frightening Aurora. By framing the boys' natural desire for adulthood as a threat to Aurora's mental health, Cody was given the ultimate weapon. He was not just being a jerk. In his twisted mind, he was being a protector. He was kicking out the dangerous wolves to protect his innocent lambs. This is the hallmark of narcissistic triangulation. He pitted the children against each other without them even knowing the game was being played. And let's talk about that danger. What was Garrison's crime? Working, seeing a girlfriend, trying to maintain a semblance of normalcy? Cody labeled this unsafe behavior. But here's the smoking gun that destroys Cody's entire argument: the nanny. While Garrison was being treated like a biological hazard, a paid employee, an outsider was entering Robin's home every single day. We need to let that sink in. A stranger was allowed near Aurora, but her own brother was not? Why? Because the nanny was on the payroll. The nanny followed orders. The nanny did not challenge Cody's authority. Garrison did. This proves conclusively that the CO protocols were never about the virus, they were a compliance test. Garrison failed the test by thinking for himself. Aurora passed the test by letting Cody think for her. Now we must address the most heartbreaking aspect of this double standard: the aftermath of the tragedy. Since Garrison's passing, there has been a deafening silence from the Shiro Chateau regarding how this affected the step-siblings, but reports from sources close to the family circle paint a disturbing picture. The theory is that Cody has built a wall of silence around Aurora and Brianna. We are hearing that the narrative inside that house is one of victimhood, not for Garrison, but for Cody. The fear is that Cody is spinning the story to his loyal daughters that the world is against them and that family enemies, driven by Christine and Janelle, caused this pain. Instead of allowing Aurora to mourn her brother, to process the fact that her father kicked him out, Cody is likely rewriting history to absolve himself of guilt. Imagine the psychological prison this creates for Aurora. If she has a single memory of Garrison being kind or a single doubt about how her father treated him, she has to suppress it. To acknowledge that her father was wrong about Garrison is to acknowledge that her father is a monster, and she cannot afford to do that. She is trapped. This is why we see her clinging to him. It is not love, it is survival. She has seen what happens to the dissenters. They are exiled, they are cut off, and in the ultimate tragedy, they are lost. And now you see the truth, the golden cage, the double standards, the heartbreak hidden behind the Brown family mansion. If this shocked you, smash that subscribe button and ring the bell, because we're just getting started uncovering the secrets they never wanted you to see.